Hello everyone, how are you doing? So, I just wanted to record this video because I've been thinking about something. It's a very strange idea, and I was wondering maybe other people have thought about it as well. So, what is this idea? It's the idea about manipulation. So, you know how people say, like, some people act in a manipulative way, and I've been thinking maybe that way of manipulation is actually accepted in other circumstances. So, what do I mean by this? What if manipulation depends on the outcome or the intention? So, if the intention was good, then that is not manipulation. We keep seeing people who say, I did this for your own benefit. I did this so you could have a better life. So you could, I was helping you. But what if the opposite happened? And the more I think about it, the scarier it gets because at its heart, like at the core of the issue of manipulation, it's that people who are so good at manipulating other people, they do normal things. So they do good things. It's just the the purpose is bad. So for example, if I know someone is missing something in their life, so let's say they're missing a sense of companionship, and I go out with them. I keep helping this friend. I tell him, you're my friend, and I tell him everything that he's missing, and I make him. Um, how do I say this? So like I make him attached to me, attached to the things that I give him because of his needs. Saying these things in itself is not bad because I could be enjoying his company. It's literally normal. I can enjoy his company. It's not that I'm banned from enjoying his company, right? So, but when I phrase it this way, it's almost like I'm telling you I have a reason for doing all of these things, right? So like I want to take advantage of him. Um, but why is that? Why is this the first thought that came to your mind? Because when we talk about um, doing something, it is acceptable to do it without having any expectation. So it is acceptable to just hang out with a friend just because you're bored, but not because you want them to be attached to you, if that makes sense. So earlier in this video, I said it's a little bit scary, right? So what was I talking about? I was referring to the fact that normal things that you know, could be really healthy for you, they could be manipulative. So that is precisely why trust issues happen, like why they do exist. Because we do things, like some people do things for us that are completely normal. Someone cooks you a meal, someone says hi, someone asks about you, like it's been 5 or 6 months and maybe they felt guilty a little bit for not contacting you all this time, so they just wanted to say hi. But our brains, they tell us, well, what if they have some ulterior motive? You know what I mean? Sometimes people get busy and we feel uh, like we feel maybe ignored or something like this. Some people call it mind games or whatever. Uh, Also, some other people like to respond after a couple of minutes. So, if someone sent them a message, they don't want the other person to feel like I'm needy, if that makes sense. So they wait for some time, sometimes 1 hour, sometimes 5 minutes, sometimes 1 minute, sometimes a day. I don't know. So people differ. Um, but yeah, just focus on, if you want to understand what I'm trying to say, just focus on the aspect of something normal, something healthy, and the fact that this is exactly what manipulators use. It's not like they use uh, a different type of tools. They don't use a different type of tools. A healthy person will say, I love you. A manipulator will also say, I love you. It's just, you can never know. You can never know. This is the scary thing about this. You can never know. And because you cannot know that people develop trust issues. They just, when someone tells them something, they feel exposed if they reciprocate that same thing, because what if their purpose of saying that is not as good as I think it is? It's not as noble as I think it is. So I sympathize with these people who find themselves in these difficult circumstances of not being able to trust anyone, to trust, let's say, their friends, their family. Sometimes they extrapolate this idea from like a small group into a bigger group, um, which is, by the way, I think they call it. I forgot what they call it, but um, there's like a philosophical word for this. Anyways, it also applies like even in relationships. Some people do it with men, and other people do it with women. You know, like all these generalizations. Just because you want to avoid trusting someone, uh, not to shame anyone. Yeah, like I found myself in some situations like these. So it's not like I'm sitting on top of my high horse, telling you, oh, do this, do that. No, but I'm just wondering if if anyone else thought the same, thought that uh, these like thought about these exact same issues, and in this particular manner, like why it's scary, why manipulators are very scary. And I feel like I wanted to say more because now the video is like 8 minutes, but I expected it to be like over 13. So um, I'm pretty sure I wanted to say something more. Oh yeah. So this isn't really a guide for people. It's not a guide. Okay, it's not a guide. But I still want to offer solutions. And the best solution I could give you is that everything in life is like this. Okay, like everything you're gonna do in your life, they all have the same threat, the same potential to harm you or to benefit you. The It's like when you go out, and I know some of you might think that this is not really a fair comparison, but when you go out and drive a car, there's always the possibility of arriving earlier or arriving late because of using a car, right? So like maybe you could get in a car accident or something like this. So like we take risks, and the question isn't do we take risks or not. The question is this risk worth it? And when it comes to trusting people, you need to ask yourself this question. Is it worth it? Because you are putting yourself in a situation where you are doing the exact same thing that a victim of manipulation is doing. You're allowing yourself to be a victim. Hopefully this makes sense. If you think about it, whether you're a victim or not depends on whether the person who's talking to you is a manipulator or not, and that depends on their motive. And of course, you have to fall for the for the fakeness of that person, if that makes sense. So yeah, um, this is really my advice for you. Life is about risks, and um, if you if also, this is a different advice. Also, that this is why I recommend you act based on the act itself and not the result. And I feel like we are living in a society of results based society. So if something doesn't do something good for you, then that thing is bad for you, or it's pointless, useless for you, right? And this is not really how life works for most of us. Maybe for one or two people, this is how life works, but for the majority of us, no. Um, you need to do something that is good in itself. For example, you work a respectable job, uh, even if the pay isn't that good, because the work itself is the virtue. And something else is trusting people. By the way, when I said working a respectable job, I'm not saying like there are some jobs that are, uh, like it's respectable to you from your perspective. Okay. And another example would be like with in relationships with people, with families, with all of that. Could be when you are trusting people. Trusting people in itself is not a bad thing. It's not something that I could tell you, don't do it again. It's like patience. Patience in itself is not a bad thing. Okay? The same thing with trust. Trusting bad people could lead you to bad results. And the more you trust people, the more you're likely to run into people who will distrust, who will make you regret trusting them. So someone is going to say, oh, well, I'm just going to stop trusting people. Yeah, well, I mean, you could do it if you want, but the issue isn't the trusting process itself. Because if you trust someone good, it's going to be really good for you. Uh, but because the trusting process isn't what's wrong in itself, it's the person who is wrong, the person who uh, who's at fault. You know, the person who betrayed you. So if you're getting, for example, I have brown skin. If I'm getting bullied for my brown skin, it's not the fault of me to go out. It's not my fault that I went out with my brown skin. It's the fault of the bully. Yeah, it's the fault of the bully or the racist person. And a third thing is that a third advice, and I'm gonna conclude the video because it's almost 15 minutes. It's that I'm just trying to process my thoughts. 1 second. Uh, the it's very damaging to put your trust into the wrong person, but at the same time, it's very rewarding to put your trust in the right person. And I feel like this hope, um, just being hopeful about things, is what keeps making me strive to try and do good things regardless of the outcome. Uh, because if I trusted someone and they betrayed me, I'm gonna be more careful next time, but at the same time, I'm not gonna shut people off and uh, become emotionally unavailable and not talk to them, uh, lethargic, lacking energy, all of that. It doesn't really, it's not really good for you. It's not really good for you. So I guess it's like your only best bet is to always bet on trusting good people. You need to always aim for that, because if you don't aim for that, your only options are you don't trust anyone, or you only trust bad people. So like the bad outcome, right? And both of these are not gonna make you really, I don't want to say happy, but content in life. I think, this is all my opinion, just my thoughts. I'm sharing them with you. Hopefully, you learned something. So yeah, to sum up, I gave you like three advices. I forgot the first one. Not gonna lie. So okay, number one is, uh, do the action for the action itself and not for the results. So focus your intentions, make them action based, not results based. And advice number two is, the pain may be so great by being betrayed, or putting yourself in a position where you could be manipulated, but also the reward is so huge at the same time. And I think the third thing I said was that, um, I think it's not really your fault for trusting people. Trusting people isn't a bad thing. So the person who made a mistake is not you. By trusting another person, it's not you who made the mistake. It's not you who gave yourself the brown skin. It's not you who, um, like, I don't know, anything people get bullied over, right? It's the other person's fault. It's really the other person's fault. And you need to look at yourself and just allow yourself to do good things. They're good things not because of how other people react to them. They're good things because they're good things. And you need to allow yourself to experience joy with yourself or with other people. So that's it. I just wanted to share this idea with you, and hope this will reach anyone at all. I really do hope that happens. And yeah, take care.